Well, hi there. What I'm doing is I'm doing some more Prototype Academy lessons, and today's is drawing like Michelangelo. And I thought I would introduce this idea because I've never seen it introduced anywhere else. I was taking drawing classes at a very, very, very good, we'll call it good. It wasn't stellar, but it was incredibly adequate. I was being taught how to do illustrations by a very good teacher, and what was really a vocational program for commercial illustrators. We were told to draw drawings after some of the masters just to see what would happen. And so I looked at all of them, and then I noticed something about Michelangelo in specific, which is that he drew into the canvas or drew into the most of the artists draw, for instance, in kind of a flat fashion. They draw, I'm drawing cartoon people, and so Michelangelo did not draw a great many cartoon people. But let's say that this is a painting of Fred, and Fred is done in oil and egg tempera in the Renaissance period. Fred, and he lives in Rome somewhere. Okay, Fred, there he is. If Leonardo or any of the other guys were to paint Fred, what would happen is that Fred would be like the Mona Lisa or any of the other paintings done by the other masters. You couldn't tell because it was a wonderful painting. But it would be flat compared to a drawing or painting, for instance, by Michelangelo. And you say, why? And it was because Michelangelo was an incredible sculptor. He was a fantastic sculptor. So, for instance, Leonardo would paint an arm going into the distance, like so, kind of flat. Not really as good as that, but maybe close. Anyway, so he would draw a flat arm. Michelangelo would literally draw and paint as if he was painting into space. Now, why is this important? Because if you're drawing, for instance, let's say this is a primitive figure. You're drawing a figure, right? If you think of the figure actually going into space, like, okay, this shoulder is coming at you, and you actually think of drawing into the space while you're drawing this figure, right? It's not a great figure. But this figure has a hand, for instance, it's right up close. Okay, again, not Michelangelo. I'm sure he's jealous somewhere. Okay, anyway, that hand is up front. This arm here, right, actually goes into the distance, right, to here. There's an elbow here. But in foreshortening, you go, well, okay, but then let's say this figure is extending another hand out here. Well, you know that hand is out there in the distance somewhere. But then when you draw your arm and the rest of it, you draw into the space. It's like forward, far away, up close, far away. It's like if you were handling an object on for instance, one of those wheels for clay, or actually forming something in clay, it would have this kind of going away thing. You're sculpting into the space. So the hip joint here, right? We'll draw the line for our space kind of like around there. This is just a very primitive lesson. I'm going to send this to my critic. Mr. Larew is my critic. He'll tell me maybe one of these days whether this is any good or not. Anyway, it drawing into the space, especially with figures and other things. And if you look at Michelangelo's paintings, and there are pictures of his paintings before they're retouched, they were incredibly retouched because they were damaged. So the Sistine Chapel paintings, for instance, were retouched. A lot of his paintings were retouched because they were damaged. The retouching people, I don't think, if you look at the photographs from the old days before those paintings were retouched, that's where I discovered this about his brushstrokes. His brushstrokes were as if, literally, his brushstrokes were like he was sculpting what he was doing into the area. Okay, so now what I'm doing now is I'm going to call it quits for my little video. I'm going to hype this up. It's going to sound faster, but these are supposed to be at most 4 minutes long. This is now going to be a lot longer than that. So that's today's little art tutorial, drawing like Michelangelo. Thank you very much.